Hi everybody, my name is Melissa. I'm a medical esthetician, a makeup artist, and a book enthusiast here in Toronto, Canada. So thank you so much for stopping by. I know it's been a long time since I made a YouTube video. I really just wanted to get started again. One of my resolutions for this year is to put myself out there more, and this is definitely one of the ways to do that. So today I'm going to go through one of my favorite books actually, and that is The Selection by Kiera Cass. You can see how much I loved it by the way I tabbed it, and you'll see some of my annotations when I go through it. I really enjoyed the series. I really enjoyed Kiera Cass in general, her writing style, and the whole world of The Selection. It's just one of my favorite things to read. I reread it constantly when I have no good new books to read, or this is definitely something that I come back to over and over again, maybe for 7 years now, just because it's one of those comfort books. I just love everything about it, and I can't wait to share with you why I love it. So let's get started. So basically, I think it's important first to go through the premise of the book. So The Selection by Kiera Cass basically is a dystopian teen romance where this main character on the cover, her name is America, and it's in like a post-apocalyptic United States that the whole continent basically of North America has been broken up into these different countries, and there's castes, I never knew how to say it, where people are ranked 1 to 8. So 1 being like royalty and like governing citizens, and 8 being the lowest of the low, like homeless, don't own property, don't have a job, that kind of idea. So the book follows America in this fictional country of Ilea. Again, not sure if I'm saying that right. It's been 7 years. I'm not gonna change the way I'm saying it now. But if someone knows how to say the names in The Selection, because once I get to the names of the characters, it's gonna be interesting pronouncing all these fun names. Thank you, Kiera Cass, for that. So yes. The story goes through America. She's a number 5. So basically number 5s are artists and musicians. She's a number 5. She gets drawn to go to this bachelor-esque competition in the palace to go win the prince's heart. So there are 35 girls from this country that get chosen, and she is a number 5 that gets chosen, which is relatively low. So she's already nervous that people aren't gonna like her because she's in a low like bracket than other people, I guess we can call it. And she's just leaving someone behind at home that she doesn't really want to leave, but she's kind of being forced to leave because of this competition and because of an altercation she had with this person who happens to be the first guy that she's ever loved and dated, but they've been doing it in secret for 2 years. So no one knows, and she gets put into the selection and her name gets chosen and she has to go. So basically this book starts off telling us about America and about America's family, about the way she lives, the way she works, and basically about her love story with this guy. His name is Aspen. So her love story with Aspen at the very beginning, and how they've had to hide out and, you know, meet each other after midnight, because in Ilea, this fictional country, it's illegal to have any kind of relation with a man or a woman before they're married. So they have to sneak out, and it's that kind of forbidden romance, especially because he's in a caste lower than her. So in a bracket lower than her. So to tell her family that she would be marrying someone lower, she would have to take his rank, and that's not really something that her family would want for her. So everything is kind of done in secret. So it's a forbidden first love story. Now, my favorite part is when America goes to the palace and she meets Prince Maxon, and Prince Maxon is the prince that's going to be choosing which wife he wants out of these 35 girls that have been chosen to go live in the palace with him, with all these other girls basically competing like The Bachelor. So there's gonna be drama, and there's gonna be sabotage, and there's gonna be romance, and there's gonna be tragedy, and it's so exciting because it's basically teenager Bachelor, which, how can you go wrong? So she doesn't want to be the princess at all. So basically she set herself up with this guy Aspen, thinking that this was gonna be it, and she had her whole life planned out. Then she gets chosen to be a princess, basically, for one of the 35 princess prospects, and everything gets shot to hell because she meets Maxon thinking she's gonna hate him, which at first she does, but realizing he's not so bad, and realizing it's also like his first time dealing with interaction with the opposite sex. He's never had the opportunity to date around. He's never had the opportunity to talk with other girls and figure out a way to flirt. And because he's been locked up in the palace studying and meeting with advisors and making budgets, and he's never had a normal teenage experience. So America and Aspen had met each other, they had taken care of their families, they had lived in the world, whereas America and Maxon, she's of the world, that she knows, you know, what's out there, and Maxon's stuck in his four walls at the palace, thinking that life is just the way that he's always lived it. But for other people, there's a struggle, right? There's one part where Maxon asks America if she's ever gone hungry, being a number 5, and she's reluctant to tell him yes, but he's shocked because he never thought that was something people had to worry about, because he never had to worry about it. So it's an interesting dynamic to see the way Maxon and America interact with each other because of their vastly different backgrounds and ways of living. He learns from her how to be more of the world and more in tune with his people. And America tries to learn how to be more diplomatic and more regal, if you will. But, of course, it never goes to plan. So as Maxon and America start to get to know each other, and they've made a secret deal with each other that Maxon can keep America in the palace so she can send money back to her family, because she gets compensation for being in this competition. He keeps her because she just wants to send money to her family, and she tells Maxon she'll help him find a wife, but it won't be her. So they have this friendship going on. And just as they start getting closer and closer, and they start realizing that maybe this is more than a friendship, of course the other foot drops, and she meets Aspen again at the palace, as he's now a guard. So we've got our love triangle, and it's in the same four walls of the palace. So that's what makes this book very interesting, is you're like, oh my god, Aspen's there now. Maxon doesn't know that that's her first love, but he knows that she had a first love that she left behind. Like, how is this gonna all play out? And I'll tell you, not smoothly. But honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. This is an amazing book. I read this, I think, the first time in like 2-3 days, which for me is very, very short because I read very slow, and it's a pretty thick book. I think there's about, 327. Yeah, 327 pages. This is smaller than the second book in the series, which is called The Elite, but I also have The Elite, the version that, like, I don't have the Harper Teen version, this is Harper Teen. I have the Scholastic version because it was cheaper. Nevertheless, I'm gonna go through some of my favorite annotations from this book, because I have a lot. So I color-coded. Pink is romantic, blue is sad, orange is OMG, and green is relatable. Oh, I also feel like it's important to mention, I read the selection after The Elite. So I read book 2, book 1, book 3. So I totally messed up the order because I thought The Elite was just like a standalone book. I had no idea that there were 3 books in the series at the time. Now there's 5, but I had no idea that there was more than one. So I read The Elite very confused. So I kept reading, and then I figured out at the back of the book, oh my god, there's 3 books. I totally missed the first one. But the second one is what got me really interested in the whole series, because I did fall in love with America and Maxon's story and their adventures, and I really enjoyed it. This is a young adult, young teen kind of book, or older teen, young adult book. So there's not explicit love scenes, which is great, because I was, I think, 12 when I read this the first time. So at 12, I'm very happy that there was nothing too crazy in here, because it's a fade to black scene. So you kind of get the gist of what's going to happen, but they don't show you everything, which is great for young readers. So if there are any parents watching and they're worried about their kids reading this book, don't be. It's totally fine, especially because in the fictional land of Ilea, it's illegal to have relations before you're married anyway, so they can't really write it in. So this is one thing where I wrote in the OMG category. I wrote, and this is America talking about Maxon seeing him on TV the first time. She says, yes, I mean, we've all seen the prince from time to time. He looks like a nice enough guy. A snot, no doubt, but friendly. And I wrote LOL beside it, because I thought that was pretty funny. And although I'm not a fan of Aspen and America's story, I do have a couple annotations from their encounters. So I have this one, it's kind of sad, where Aspen is basically talking to America about being selected. If she were to get chosen, would she love him, the prince, instead of Aspen? So he says, no one knows him. That's the thing, though. Maybe you would like him. If you love me, you'll do this so I won't go crazy wondering what if. So Aspen basically gives America all these chances to break up with him, because he's worried that once she goes to the palace to meet the prince, and she'll fall crazily in love with him and leave him in the dust. So he's giving her all these chances beforehand to say, we should cut it off now, and she just doesn't. She doesn't take it, because she's like, no, she's adamant, I'm not gonna love the prince at all, I'm just doing it for the money, if anything. But she's also convinced she's not gonna get picked. Oh, America. Ah. Okay. This is one of my favorite parts in the book, just because it's so small, where it's Maxon and America's like first encounter, and I marked up my pages for this one, but I don't regret it. Maxon says, "Are you all right, my dear?" And America says, "I'm not your dear." And that's like one of the most known phrases of this book and this whole series, is that he calls her his dear, his darling, and then there's full circle moment in the 3rd book, and I love. So I have a green tab as well. Maxon asking America, circumstances being what they are, I haven't had the opportunity to fall in love. Have you? America answers simply, yes. But she wishes she could take it back because it was a very private thing. Then Maxon answers, then you have been quite lucky. He sounded jealous. Imagine that, the one thing I could hold over the head of the Prince of Ilea, the very thing I was here to forget. So this book just, it just keeps going with, you know, knives to the heart. I love it. I love it. I really do love this book. This whole series is fantastic. And if you're one of those people that used to read a lot like I did, like when I was in school, I used to read for school and then for fun, because I just loved it so much. I spent all my time in a library, spent all my time you know, with my nose in a book, and I don't regret it, because that was a very good way to spend my time, I think. So if you're one of those people that used to read a long time ago, but it's been a while since you have, I definitely recommend this series. A lot of people say Colleen Hoover. Don't go for Colleen Hoover. Maybe I'll make a video about why I don't like Colleen Hoover, but definitely go for the selection because it'll make you engaged again in reading, because it's such an interesting and fun and reminiscent of, you know, a reality TV show in a book. So I definitely recommend this one. And then who knows, maybe you'll love it and you'll go for book 2, book 3. Book 4 you can hold off on. I would definitely hold off on book 4. I'll make another video about that. And book 5 was okay. So definitely give this book a try. If there's something you've been dying to read but just can't find the proper book, this is it. I've also written a blog post about this where I have the pros and the cons of this this book, as well as pictures of my annotations, different than the ones that I've shown today. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave the link in the description box and you can check it out there, where I'll be posting way more blog posts and everything. So thank you so much, everybody. If you made it to the end of this video, I do really appreciate it. Thank you so much just for reading with me, watching with me, and hanging out for a little bit, because as much as I love to watch YouTube videos, I love to make them too. So thank you so much again. And have you guys ever read this book before? If you have, leave a comment and let me know what one of your favorite parts is. Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys.